I recorded this introduction once and I hated it. So, hi everyone, my name is Charlie and this is Cozy Reading Night. If you want to know what Cozy Reading Night is, then I will leave a link to Lauren and the Books' channel in the description, and you can go there and you can find out more information. We are headed towards the end of February, meaning there is just one weekend left, and my reading has plummeted. I haven't been reading, basically, unless it's been for the BookTube prize. There's some books here from January that I would quite like to try and make some headway through. The first book is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. I started reading this book in January and was thoroughly enjoying the experience. I read 150 pages incredibly quickly, and it's a book that I have been meaning to read for a very long time now. This is probably the main candidate of books that I want to read and get read before the end of the month. Another book here is Barchester Towers by Anthony Trollope. I now own all 47 books in the Folio Society Anthony Trollope collection, and I'm 150 pages into this book as well. I want to get a lot of those books read this year. I want to have read the entirety of the Barchester Chronicles by the end of this year, and I plan to read 2 books a month. We are nearly at the end of the second month, and I am not even halfway through this one. But I like Anthony Trollope, and I find that this series is somewhat calming to read. It reminds me of those very parochial stories that they used to adapt onto television to watch on Sunday afternoons with your grandmother. That's a very niche genre that I don't think many people know about, but it's my niche. And then we have Angel by Elizabeth Taylor. The reason I haven't continued reading this book after the first chapter is because I went back through my conversations on Instagram and found I'd actually mentioned to Doris of all the books about buddy reading this months ago in September. And then I've fallen off watching Doris's videos, so I need to rectify that situation, maybe show some sort of friendship and acquaintanceship that isn't so thoroughly one-sided, and perhaps become a nicer human being in the process. But we'll see. It's been 28 years, nearly 29, and I haven't cultivated any sort of camaraderie with anybody, have I? And then I've realised that I'm very close to having been learning Italian for 1 year now, and so I really want to finish reading the comics in Le più belle storie in Giallo. I am finding that this is helping me to figure out how to read in Italian more, but my actual language skills are somewhat lacking still. But I did write something down in English that I would like to say, and I've translated it into Italian, so I'm just going to try and get rid of my accent somewhat to read that to you, to show that my Italian education is coming along slowly. È più facile per me leggere l'italiano che parlare la lingua. Riesco a riconoscere le parole e I loro modali, ma trovo difficile formulare una frase nella mia testa in inglese e tradurla. Leggere questo fumetto si è rivelato vantaggioso per la mia educazione e sento un grande risultato quando sono in grado di leggerlo e capire la lingua senza dover ricercare nessuna delle parole. From all of this, I think that this evening at 7 o'clock, which is in about 4 hours' time, I will start with the 5th season. I will be in bed for a bit, downstairs for a bit, just wherever there's no other people. I'm hoping to vlog this experience, and I'll see you later. It's Saturday morning and I've just woken up. I threw on the closest thing to me that wasn't pyjamas. It's a rather glorious spring day outside. Birds are singing and my family have all gone out to work, and if they haven't, I don't know where they are, because it was about 8:30 when I finally got out of my bed. I had nothing else to get out of bed for, considering RuPaul's Drag Race is not on today. And they weren't here, which was unexpected, because I hadn't expected them to leave until after 9. Anyway, cosy reading night. My cosy reading night didn't get going until 7:30, so I decided that I would run my own thing from 7:30 until 10:30 and everything would be fine. So, for the first 45 minutes of cozy reading night, I was reading the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, and I managed to get through 50 pages. This is a book that both times I've picked it up, I have flown through. The writer manages to include so much intrigue within their prose. Everything feels incredibly cinematic and incredibly visual. The placement of the scenes is just something that it would translate extremely well into film immediately with little editing. I managed to get to page 200 by 8:15, which meant I'd read 50 pages, and then my mother came home. And me, trying to be a nice person, which doesn't come naturally to me, I went downstairs, I made another cup of tea for me and my dad, and my mum as well. I don't know why I said it like that. Myself and my parents, I made us a cup of tea, and then for my mum, I made her tea as well. Only an omelette, some mushrooms, and some toast, but you know, still. And then I returned upstairs to continue my reading of the 5th season. Within the next 100 pages, which is what I read over the next hour, I began to get this feeling that a certain person might be another person that we have met during the novel. And I think that everybody else who's read this knows this as well, and they noticed this hint and this possible forthcoming story twist. Because I remember somebody reviewing it a few years ago, they outright mentioned it. I don't know whether it was a fellow reader I met in real life who told me I knew that somebody was going to turn out to be somebody else. Fast forward a bit, and for the 3rd hour, I went back downstairs to upload some of the video footage I had taken, and aren't you thrilled at the idea of getting to see what my bed looks like? I am rather glad that my sister bought me new bedding for Christmas, because it's been a long time since I had my own bedding. I hadn't bought any new since 2007 when I first decorated this bedroom. I was 14 when I decorated this bedroom, so for another 14 years I haven't done anything with it. It used to be blue, but I decided that was too masculine and too stereotypical for a boy. That was what it was when my brother had it, this room. Indeed, my parents seem to just do blue for boys' rooms. I don't know. Let's not talk about that. We've gone off on a tangent about decorating this room. 14-year-old Charlie read in a design book that neutral tones would be calm and help you to sleep. So my bedding before was just brown. I don't know what's happened to that bedding. So, oh, I remember what happened now. So I used to have a single duvet, and when Rambo was on his way out, he urinated on my single duvet, and so the only one I had was my dead grandmother's duvet. So I stole my sister's bedding and used that, and then my pillowcases were haphazard. So my sister bought me this nice one which has reindeer and badgers and foxes and hares on it. And I was very grateful for that, because last night I figured out how I could turn the DVD stand you're on around and get some of that footage that all booktubers have where they show themselves in their bed. And also, I'm sat on my bed this morning because I could not be bothered clearing off the chest that I usually sit on to speak to you. So after the 3rd hour, I'd really gone downstairs to watch a bit of tally, and I didn't know that my dad was watching the snooker. I really haven't been into the snooker that much this year. Well, it's not this year, this time round. I'd only come upstairs anyway because the soaps were on and I couldn't be bothered with them. There was nothing doing on the telly. So after about 5 to 10 minutes of trying to find something, I decided to return upstairs and continue reading the 5th season. And last night I managed to read 200 pages of this, and one of the things I thought was forthcoming did happen. Something happened within the story that I hadn't expected, because I'd grown rather tense about one character, worried that something was going to happen to them, especially after we'd found out what has happened to other children within this world. So my anxiety there was just amping up, which was strange because usually I haven't felt anything for characters like that in a long while. #heartless. This moment in the story happened and it felt somewhat glorious to me. That's the only way I can describe it. I thought, oh, I felt like a reader. It's just so good. It's so episodic. It's really good fantasy. World building happens as the story progresses and as the characters are finding out things. So it never feels like there is a ton of info dumping happening. Showing people at various times of their lives as the main viewpoint characters gives a great impression of how you move through life in this world. And we're also getting a bit of mythology. There does seem to be an absence of culture that does get addressed, which usually when you're going into a fantastical world, if you're J.R.R. Tolkien, you throw in a ton of songs in there. Patrick Rothfuss has a few songs in there as well. You have them going to the pub and you have the songs and this different mythology that makes up the world and what people like. And here there was this absence of that. There was something post-apocalyptic almost, but you never get a sense of what these people, these characters enjoy outside of the life of this novel. And then when one of the characters goes exploring a certain area they shouldn't be in, we finally get to see where all this culture has gone. And I was appreciative of that. So my plans for today are to read the final 100 pages of this, which will mean I've actually completed another book this week. So maybe as we head into spring, I am actually getting some of that want to read back. I hope so. Yeah, this last night I was reading this and I was thinking I could finish this today and then I could go straight into the Obelisk Gate and I could finish the entire trilogy by Monday. That's not going to happen. Whilst I can read the books quickly, I do not think that I can read them that quickly. But I do think I'm going to put off my Booktube Prize reading. I've been very good last year in getting all of the Booktube Prize books read by the first day that they had to be read by. And I think that this time I'm just going to give myself 2 or 3 extra days, you know, to like the 4th of March and just stick to reading some of the stuff that I want to get read. Cozy reading night really worked for me. I'm discovering that squirreling myself away in my bedroom is one way to actually get some work done in terms of reading and writing. I mean, I wrote an entire novel in here once. I do keep considering it. There's this part of me that still feels somewhat teenage and antisocial when I spend so much time in my bedroom. Indeed, that's one of the reasons that I started spending more time downstairs, was because when I was a teenager, I would come upstairs to my room because I'd got Freeview. I'd stick the telly on, and any spare hour I had, I spent in my bedroom. And I realised that at one point I'd become the stereotypical teenager and started endeavouring to spend more time downstairs with my computer, watching whatever the family was watching on the TV. I'm going to be off. Did you participate in Cozy Reading Night? If so, how did you do? What did you read? You can let me know in the comments. Also, if you've vlogged the experience yourself, I mean, technically, I didn't vlog the experience, did I? I just recorded myself a bit. But hey, I did something. If you did create a vlog or just discuss what you did, then also tell me you've done that and I might go and watch it. But I'm a terrible viewer at the moment. I'm a terrible replier at the moment. So just... I'm asking for leeway again. I hope that you got something out of this video besides sheer boredom, and until next time, that is all.